breathe down your neck and make you do that.
See how things unfold. I must have misspoken earlier. SoaR will actually be the team starting on defense here. So we'll hold that conversation point, at least that narratively we were bringing up about how will S2P's defense hold, at least for 12 rounds. And take a look at SoaR. You want to talk about aggression? They very well could be giving us that. All 4 members stacked right up on the mid barrier. And offensively, something to prove. More leaning over towards SoaR. So this is going to be a slow approach for SoaR. Not even using any abilities to come through. But the problem is, S2P have wrapped opposite. They're going to be onto the A site. Running. The big question will be, will they read that SoaR very well could be behind you?
Yeah, I mean, the defenders literally started running as soon as they heard that spike down very quickly. They have to be aware the showers is going to be contested, though. Bancroft didn't know.
That could be enough information, though, for everyone else to turn their attention. Shots from Denya, really nice. Finds a second. Now the attack through mid. Miniature, John, finding a couple in response. 3v3 we go. Xander running in with the frenzy, has found one, gets himself a second and a third. Xander deals with the offensive players stacked up in U-turn. And that will be enough for SoaR's push through pistol to find success for the opening round.
I mean, look, I really actually like the approach done from S2P then, because I think the best time to do an aggressive attack like that is the first round, because you haven't set a precedent. They're not going to be expecting you to do an aggressive attack like that, so you're more likely to have it work. But what they didn't expect was the flank coming around from SoaR's themselves. And so it was, you know, Bancroft getting caught out in showers. He wasn't expecting those defenders to have come all the way back around. I think they expected a lot more space for themselves in that post-plant situation. And that is when that momentum started to shift. So a shame there for S2P. I liked the idea. Approach maybe wasn't ideal.
How about this, though? S2P, a couple of the kills in a plant say, let's go ahead and force buy. We could be getting ourselves an electric match between these two teams if they continue to play with this level of aggression. Xander into his own cyber case, trying to move forward. Spanning, able to find one. That's John, the first one to fall. Almost able to grab a second, but Sopa, Stinger will make use of it. We go 2 for 2. Danny's got a player stuck in the corner. Holds down the trigger, finds elimination, but it's Nerf holding on behind the double stack of the Radiantite crates. That will be enough to clean up the point, and SoaR, they will win the force buy round. That S2P put into play, and now they're in a huge point of advantage as they can essentially just keep playing on SMG and pistol upgrades, because S2P, there's no way they can afford again.
One thing I actually wanted to bring back from the quarterfinal that S2P played in against Ghost is we noted how S2P do like those aggressive openings onto their attack, but they're usually quite good at maintaining the control in those, which was something that Ghost fell short on. I think SoaR are really going to be the adversary that tests that, because so far S2P's aggression has been shut down in both of these 2 rounds thus far.
Headshot just a little offline for Mini. Denya will walk away, I won't say cleanly with the first blood, but he does at least tilt a very big numbers advantage in a round that you would normally expect SoaR to win here. Xander holding the outer angles through B long. He's going to have one with him, but no one's watching who got what to say. Is anyone going to turn around for this? And well, Xander will finds himself 1 kill that probably should not have happened. Cryo finds another 2. And it just comes down to John 1v3. He's already done well to find Bossy, but there's no way he can get even further forward. So Cryo takes 3 in the round, and SoaR put themselves as expected up 3-0.
I mean, look, what sucks there is the fact that you literally just saw a prime example of what happens when you're economically disadvantaged. Because I think S2P having just free reign of hookah like that, if they hadn't been playing on with pistols, they probably would have done so much better in those gunfights, especially that initial shot onto Xander that didn't result in a kill for S2P, probably would have with better weaponry. And that is where you see frustrating rounds like that, at least frustrating for S2P, because in any other circumstance, that could have been theirs.
Early recon bolt coming out. You see Miniatures looking right at the teleporter, thinking that that was going to be enough for the defense to play aggressively through a B-long. Not the case. Denya holding on site with Xander. Teleport play coming out, and that's actually committed to for Bossy. So now he's kind of trapped through the hookah teleporter. At least in a way. Mini's going to get the Seekers. Do you use these right away? Looks like the answer is yes. Toxic screen will go up. Nerf will be blocked off from seeing much of anything. The Seeker, he's got to be careful. This could potentially connect. Has to deal with it. Cryo playing from on top of the site. Good for a couple. Not going to get a third as Miniature from Showers will eventually punish. And S2P have made their way on, but oh boy, they have not cleared off hardly any space as Nerf from Lamps will find 3. And I think in a lot of ways you play that round back in your head and say, how is he allowed to do that when Seekers have already called out his position?
I am a fan of the fact that they decided to use the Seekers, especially the fact that the Miniature's location was very much given away by the initial gunshots that he shot through Showers. And then just picking up the orb, they're going to have heard that. They know someone's coming through. So you kind of have to push the defenders back at that point. Otherwise, they have total free reign to push onto you. The problem is S2P hadn't tried to clear out through, I don't know, somewhere like U-Haul, for example. They hadn't come up through main like they're doing a bit more now. And that just meant that those kills could be taken by the defenders, which they're not doing this time. The defenders are being eaten alive.
That's just so unfortunate. It's an aggressive angle being held by Bossy. And as soon as the connection off the Sheriff comes through, it's just Nerf trying to hold on to make sure the weapon doesn't collect it. But now he's actually given away 2 weapons. Now, granted, the Hunter's Fury did find a lot of damage. So Denya playing in U-Haul. Maybe a chance with the information off the Zal drone to find 1 for free. That will happen. Cloudburst to block any extra information over through mid. Spike going to get to at least halfway. Snakebite over the top will push this off. Denya now pushing forward. Going to see 1. Gets the elimination. Tailwinds away. Also then off the recon bolt the second. Snakebite will fade. There is not an opportunity here for Danny to deny this unless it's a shock bolt, which he'll use both. And that will be enough for him to come right back to it, make sure Denya cannot touch, and Danny comes up huge for S2P to get them on the board.
They needed that round. They really, really needed that round. And I really like the way that they played at the end, the way that they were focusing on the denial. You had the shock bolt, you had the snake bite as well, both of which really effective at holding off the defenders, especially when they had all of the space that they would have otherwise needed to get the denial on, because we've seen 2 rounds in a row now. The defenders being able to hold pretty solid control of U-Haul has allowed them great positions to deny attackers pushing up from short or through Showers. It happened again in that last round, but that denial meant that they couldn't take the defusal for themselves.
After the tag, Danny goes right into an early Hunter's Fury here, not quite able to find the second dart. Bossy will take their position. Showstopper comes through. That should connect for 1, but Bossy's still able to find an elimination before he drops. So all these ultimates that have been earned are all being spent very quickly. It's going to allow a plant to come through for S2P. Xander trying to sneak his way onto site. Denied by John. So 3v4. S2P pretty much bunkered into this Viper's Pit, which does allow them a chance to actually play over on top through Hookah. Crow's going to catch absolutely nothing off the recon bolt, just has to guess with shock darts. Nerf's going to be clearing with them from behind. Denya has been able to find 1 elimination up close and personal, but clearing this Viper's Pit is going to be absolutely impossible. And as Denya drops, it's just down to Nerf. Will catch 1, but is just trying to play his life from here on out. No time to defuse, and he will successfully back away and save the weapon.
Yep. No defusal there either. I really like the use of the Cosmic Divide because notably it held Cryo back. He had to stay in spawn. He couldn't peek into the site from the defender's spawn at all. He made the rotate all the way around through elbow, but as you said, the recon bolt didn't find anything. So at that point, he was kind of stuck. You have to enter into the Viper's Pit at that point if you want to try and take kills and just hope that you come across someone onto whom you can land a shot before they can do the same to you. It puts the defenders in a very blind position, and that's ultimately what felled them.
Seekers, Boombot, a lot of aggression being used utility-wise. Oh, and how about this? Bossy, can you get this paint shells down in time? Yeah, sure has been able to. Finds 1, holds off the follow-up push. Snakebite will put him into a corner. Guiding light comes through, but it's fake. It's so dirty from Miniature. So the opening engagement, an expensive and a dicey one, still turns out in favor of the attackers of Some to Prove. Miniature are going to find information off this recon bolt, but cannot convert onto Xander, who will be holding this site. Teleporters will come out. Nerf trying to respond to that rotation, and as he reads that, yes, this indeed is going to be a rotation over to A, he'll throw a dark cover and teleport his way closer towards the defender spawn.
It's a shame, actually. I was really hoping that that was going to be able to hold the attention on B a little bit longer so that they could get the rotate into A, but so far, S2P have kind of struggled to get fully onto the site thus far. Nerfed is still present. They're going to be actually planting the diffuser. Finally, nice kill onto Cryo. And you've just got Nerfed there to try and deal with it. He gets one kill, can't land the second, and S2P take the next round.
What a recovery this has been, though, for S2P. I mean, after the opening 4 rounds, we're looking dominant from SoaR. Their ability to bounce back and, I would say, just find success in all the chaos from the round previously says a lot about how they were able to get this post plant set up down. So now you're in a position where Something to Prove has turned the economy around completely, where SoaR will be on a bit of a broken light buy situation. You got a Judge, you've got one Vandal, a couple of Sheriffs everywhere else. Also important to note, just kind of bringing it up again, Denya did use Bladestorm last round. Not around you'd probably expect to see him use it, so would love to have that there and maybe buy the Vandal for somebody else, but not the case. So S2P, huge advantage coming in round 3.
Early gunfire. Doesn't find anything just yet. And there's the dark cover to try and prevent the attacks from pushing forward, but they're going to anyway. A nice couple of kills for Nerf. Finally gets shut down. It's going to slow the attack.
Though. Yeah, this is all right for SoaR. You're going to have a crossfire set up inside of Lamps. Although, that said, no one was ready for the crossfire. So John will take his 3rd elimination in the round. Puts it to a 2v2. You've got Denny, who still has a weapon, but comes dry out of a Nebula. Immediately taken out by Sofa, who can now watch as John gets the spike planted. And Bossy, and there's no reason not to go for this, I suppose, but this is going to be a very difficult 1v2 to try to work your way through.
Straight up giving his location away too. He throws out the paint shell to try and catch out this player from behind Dice, but still doesn't get the kill. And the Satchel doesn't work either, so now he's just holding on to a showstopper and looking to use it somewhere. Gets caught in a grab well as well. The whole thing's a little bit unfortunate. Down to 3 HP. I don't think he's going to last much longer. It's a nice kill and a nice round for S2P. Perhaps not the way SoaR were looking for that one to end.
Bossy is probably sitting there saying,
so we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about that one. I mean, actually, one thing that I did want to talk about, however, is that other than round number 1, every single round that S2P have planted the spike, there has not been a defusal. SoaR have not successfully been able to take it back.
I mean, hey, it's just, we talk about the fact that there's so much controllability on Something to Prove. Once all that utility gets set up for a post point, how do you deal with it? John, this time, a marginally better ultimate than Bossy, as he's able to at least go 1-for-1 with it. Denya up top on this Cosmic Divide. Timing would be everything if they were to choose to peek this. But is instead waiting. Nerf there with him. Long flank coming through from Cryo, and that has to be the call. Sitting there saying, no need to try to make an aggressive peek from the front. Let me play from the back first. Danny scouting it, wins the gunfight. 3v3 we go, but as S2P were looking for a free kill, they've actually gotten off the site, so now they have to essentially retake it again.
Still presence from SoaR over on B site as well, and there's no way that S2P are going to look for that rotation. Nice kill from Miniature, could open things up, but he is immediately traded back. Both of these players are in showers. Does Nerf know that? Oh, he's looking for another kill, doesn't quite get it. He gets killed.
1v2, but this paint shell's beautifully placed, denies the plant a little while longer. Danny's still holding a corner. Sofa now moving over to the traditional plant space. Bossy is this going to be a little bit neater? Sure is so far. This is the spike carrier, but where is Danny? In the corner. Not great. It's just a tough situation, but Danny never moves. And S2P, 5 rounds in a row, up now 5-4 for the first time.
Yo, and we were saying how they were like a defender team, something.
We said that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, now they're looking pretty strong, not just on the numbers at the top of your screen, but also in their economy as well. I mean, look at that. They're rolling in it. Meanwhile, SoaR have actually got to kind of fumble a little bit. You've got, you know, some pistols being brought, not really that much. It's all a bit of a mess. Xander gets a kill.
Last player standing.
It's not enough, though. That's a solo kill over towards A. He's actually going to rotate to B, thinking that that's where the play is, but Miniature was just out there by themselves. Maybe an opportunity to use this Phantom, though. If you can find Mini, it'll give you a 1v3 over towards A. Have to get this first kill, though, first and foremost. The Trailblazer will confirm for both players that someone's nearby.
One dead.
Gets the first cleanly. Second one up. Danny gonna make a peek. Why, you might wonder. Now it's a 1v2. Neural Theft will come out. That's good information as far as what can I peek freely. As there's one pushed all the way into showers and the other will go to meet them. Bancroft has rotated through the middle of the map. There are a couple of Astra Stars placed, so Xander will not be able to go for a defuse as of yet. Has to make a play forward, and as he does, finds the first. This would be a 1v4, but no, gets caught with the trap wire. Sofa there for the trade, but maybe a little bit too close for comfort. Regardless, S2P still staying, at least for the last 6 rounds, flawless on their offense.
Man, yeah, I mean, S2P, they're going to be feeling really good about the fact that they got a win, especially as Xander was just like, yeah, I'm going to pop off. Really unfortunate timing at the end there for him, as you say, just kind of fiddling with the trap wire there, not necessarily aware of the fact that one of the attackers have rotated all the way round to showers, because think back to when he actually executed on the Neural Theft, well, that player was on short, so he didn't know that they were there. It happens, but it's not going to look good for SoaR's, you know, round count.
Yikesers. Well, now things become very interesting because SoaR, who very regularly we've seen Cryo try to use this Hunter's Fury as a way to find an opening first blood, might have to consider using this to give some space for a retake. You see where Cryo's positioned, right on top of the A site on the quad box. Other 2 members for SoaR are Nerfed and Bossy that are inside A. Aldra will see a bit of information, but does not tag on the dart itself, so Hunter's Fury will stay in the back pocket for now.
Probably the least aggressive that S2P have ever been on an attack. Blown away. Note as well that the spike is really far back as well, so they're not leading with a spike player, which they've done a couple of times. And it suggests that they were maybe thinking about their options a bit more. It looks like they're heading more towards A at this point. In goes the paint shell, and now they're going to execute.
The Hunter's Fury will also come through here offensively for Danny. Will lead to a 2-for-1 exchange favoring S2P. Recon Bolt, not going to see the full outline of John. Kill will be there. Spike will instantly rotate over towards B. Quick to follow will be Danny, making their way through Spice, making sure nobody follows the teleporter. Defensively, though, wait, you have to stick for this plant, which means that Cryo's going to get a free kill because of the time that was on the clock. So now we've got a 2v2 situation. Nebula will encompass the majority of this entryway through the defender spawn, but then he's got a Cloudburst to play with. Will Tailwind right on in, but Sofa's there to make things a 1v1. Cryo moving quickly, not going to expect Danny up top, and Hookah and S2P, a huge round for them. Keeps it 7 in a row, and SoaR in a very difficult position going into the last round of the half.
And the way that they were playing Bancroft allowed them to make that change and that adaptation to go over towards B. The fact that he was much further behind, which isn't necessarily characteristic of the way they've been playing their attacks so far. And yeah, you know, we are now heading into the final round of this half at least, and S2P are looking significantly stronger. As far as, you know, their weaponry, their economy goes. Again, SoaR have to kind of make their compromises.
Oh. Interesting setup right there for S2P, opening Nova Pulse into a Trailblazer, into a Flash, into a Boombot. They really wanted to try to get a kill through utility alone.
Blinded.
Oh, goodness, they've used all their guiding lights, and this is every flash for S2P. You've got to find success on this, and Nerf finds so much damage. Bossy running and gunning with the Spectre for 2. And man, that is an opening that you'll go back to and relook at if you're S2P, because it was really close to being great, but ends up being absolutely a tragedy.
And on the one hand, it's great that they drew so much utility out of SoaR, but it's still a 4 versus 2, and certainly not in S2P's favor. Now they're moving over to B. The cage has come out. They're releasing the Viper's pit, but Xander still gets the first kill into it. A second one as well ensures that SoaR take the round, and it'll be a 7-6, or rather a 7-5, sorry, heading into the next half.
Man, there are so many things that just go barely wrong for S2P on that approach. Everything is looking great, even in the end, for what was a 2v3 situation on the B side itself. It's just unfortunate that the Owl Drone actually gets the dart off before the Viper's pit can find much value. But it's just, you know, for SoaR, after a great opening, including a bit of bless up here as Xander was able to escape with his life, not just once, but really 3 different times as all those sheriff shots missed. You thought that, okay, SoaR's gonna run away with this. And especially as soon as this moment was coming through, you're like, okay, maybe Xander's gonna have something special up his tank to get this clutch up. He nearly gets the 1v4, but it's S2P for 7 rounds essentially in a row. And yeah, it is in a row that they're able to keep this in their favor. Now they go back to that defensive side that we really harped on so much for being incredible from their last matchup in the quarters.
Again, very aggressive push in for SoaR, who get the opening kill for it as well, and the second one too. So S2P, you might have been good at defense against Ghost, but you've got to prove it a little bit more here against SoaR so far. Another kill straight in for Cryo, right off the reload as well. Danny finally trying to even up, but there's only a couple of them to do so.
Last player standing.
Danny, if he finds the spike planner, this is actually a doable round for the side of S2P, but now it turns to a 1v3 situation for Sofa. Deciding between which classic looks better for the job.
Of course.
Deals with the Owl Drone. Does not get tagged by it. Opening headshot connects onto Cryo. So maybe a chance for him to make a play forward. Nova Pulse will not be spent. It's just going to be the Nebulas this time. Pushing into the smoke, coming through. Nerf right there waiting. No problem. And SoaR have taken all the pistols so far, which is against the trend that we saw from the quarterfinal for S2P.
I think this is the thing that I'm really going to be looking at heading into this half is, yes, S2P, they looked exceptionally strong on the defense when they were playing against Ghost, but I feel like the way that we saw a lot of SoaR position themselves in their game against Basilisk is going to be inherently harder to deal with them as an attacking group. I think they're going to be better positioned in a way that's going to make it more punishing on S2P and give them a lot less space to work with. And that could change the outcome of their defensive half from what we've already seen of them today.
Oh, beautiful shot, Vinny. Opening kill you thought was going to be good enough, but the position of where you found it is really not going to allow for any weapon upgrades here, so it's going to have to be done once more. Defense a little bit split up. Bossy finds one. Miniature grabs their second, though, to respond, so 3v3 all of a sudden. And honestly, the offense is a little bit stuck on the site right now. Mini up top nearly gets another look. Cryo able to find elimination before things got too dicey. Spikes still not haven't been planted yet, and now you've got Sean and Danny working in simultaneous nature together. Cryo finds one. That's a lot of information on where Danny's positioned. The recon bolt also will not scout, and Danny says, oh, maybe he's rotating over to A. Not the case, and Cryo, looking to play the patient game, will instead decide, all right, go ahead, get myself a safety blanket of this recon bolt, get the spike down. Just make sure that Danny feels trapped the entire way, which will indeed be the case. There goes the peak. Not much you can do besides give it the old college try, and Cryo will shut it down and find 3 in a row, bringing this to an even game at 7 apiece.
Sova versus Sova, and yet both kind of lacked information. Happens. And as you said, you know, the attackers really got trapped on the site in that sense, and it's good from their perspective that they were actually able to get the plant down, because for a decent amount of that round it could have been taken back by the defenders. And as you say, now things are evened out, and this is sort of the risky spot for S2P. Heard the guiding light go off, and it looks like the attack is going to be very spread out across the map for now. And we'll go back to collect the spike as Bossy gets the opening kill.
That's a lot of space opened up defensively. They need to respond to Hookah, and actually, so far, is going to push into this. Finds one. Knows it's a second challenger, but Bossy will be the one to walk away with 2 kills between the two of them. So a 4v3. Spike did get revealed that it was dropped over through hookah. So anything over towards A, you feel like is a mere informality at this point.
Still kills coming backwards and forwards, puts it in 3 versus 2. Just 2 of the defenders left. There's a nice kill from Bancroft. He turns around but can't actually see anyone just yet. Finally gets the kill onto Bossy. He's in a 2 versus 1, but you can be sure that Denya's not going to make it that easy for S2P. Recollects the spike, knows that his adversary's nearby, but doesn't quite have the reaction to deal with him. John gets that kill and puts S2P on the board for this half.
Yeah, that's such a weird situation. I think really you could argue from both POVs. But in the end, it's just the sheer fact that I feel the defense just has a small advantage because they know that with 1 kill through hookah, Spike was down. So any action that happens over towards A is not going to be a full execute. So they're able to kind of hold off, measure what's happening, and then the one-way smoke that you see from Bancroft is actually beautiful. It keeps his teammates safe and himself safe on the site and allows him a free kill. So small advantage overall when it comes down to knowing the spike was not a part of that execute for S2P to play off of. And now you've got SoaR on the save round. Denya gonna have blades in hand, but it's Bossy with the first one to fall. So SoaR will have to make this work in 4v5 fashion.
Running in through showers to lead the way. There's the Blade Storm, and he did just narrowly see one of his opponents, but not enough to actually act on it. So the Cloudburst has to come out.
Hunter's Fury going to be traded between both Sovas. And Danny's actually the one to connect. Cryo, I think, actually put his away.
Spike planted.
That's an interesting interaction between both Sovas. I don't think that shock dart hit where it was supposed to off that bounce, but such is life at times. Denya needs to find one here. Misses the first couple of knives. Going to be challenged by a multitude more defensive players who are quick to try to get them this retake. Time becoming a little bit of a problem, though. Need to find kills. Denya's reset the knives as he finds one and grabs a second over the top. Looking for more than that. Hiding in the cyber cage. The right click will connect. Kills do come back back and forth as we have a 2v2 situation. Spike being held. Denya has to make their way forward, but it's Nerf from behind. Who's able to make his play through lamps. And SoaR win the round, tying things right back up at 8.
Certainly not gonna let this go too quickly or too easily. Yeah, there was a lot of utility that was invested in that round, and I think the way that the defenders were trying to hold, you know, they still had their presence over towards spawn, their presence in U-Hall as well, but also having that presence out in the kind of in the center of the site somewhat, where the attackers were really getting aggressive, and Denya certainly wasn't slowing down in terms of his willingness to push, which absolutely worked out for them in that sense. Won't this round though?
No, definitely not. Crowd needs to try to play cleanup crew and just maybe just a little bit of correction crew here. All over to HR, but he's only able to find a couple. So SoaR now find themselves in a very weird 2v2. Xander will take care of John, which means that Sofa, last player left alive, gets revealed by the neural theft, and it'll be a true 1v2. But depending on the route, Sofa should be able to collect a weapon here. And you can see Xander doesn't want that to happen, so he will go ahead, and you see all those pings also coming down like, hey, let's not let Sofa get this weapon, and even the double blast pack to make sure that Sofa's challenged on this cross. It's just a judge in hand, trying to move as fast as possible, but does not catch SoaR off guard, and they go back into the lead up 9-8 all of a sudden.
It certainly just didn't help for SoFA in that round, the fact that they got pinged out a couple of times while making that rotate. It wasn't even just about the original neuro theft, it was after that as well. And so, you know, while trying to make the rotate in, just complete understanding of the presence of, you know, his location, wherever he was had. And that makes it very, very difficult as a defender to really try and do anything in that instance. It happens, but SoaR are getting more and more willingness to push and get aggressive on their attacks, and you can see them paying off with these beautiful couple of kills from Bossy to start off.
Yeah, good help as well there from Nerf on the way through, but the showstopper denied. Miniature trying to keep Hookah in control of the defense, but Nerf will get the better of him. So now a 4v2 situation. SoaR looking for round number 10, and unless Bancroft can do something with Danny. It's looking pretty good, at least for now, based on the numbers and the fact that the spike is freely rotating and should get a plant off on B, no problem.
Yeah, the last couple of defenders are definitely over towards
Planted the spike.
saving.
the A site. And not looking to make any kind of rush.
No, and I actually agree with this call. Just to quickly interject, I mean, you're going to be in a weird situation going into this next round where you're going to be on a save, and that essentially means you're looking at 11-8. That's not great news. To essentially have to win 4 rounds in a row. So at least this gives you some potential, even though you're going to be down 8-10, to maybe at least keep it a 1-round differential. Still going to be a tough round, but they do have some tools to play with. So defensively, this is the right call.
I always do enjoy it though when, you know, you have defenders who decide that they want to save, but the attackers find them in the meantime anyway. So it's like, it didn't matter in the end at all. And this is not going to be one of those cases. They actually successfully survived out the end of that round. They weren't hunted down by SoaR, but I don't know. I always find it a bit funny and ironic when that happens. Maybe I'm cruel.
Great team shots here, by the way, too, just to kind of speak on to Nerfed as well. Miniature, you thought for a moment, if he locks down Nerfed, totally different look as far as that round is concerned, because Hookah's still in control. A lot of the clearing tools that SoaR would have been taken off the bat because, well, you lost Bossy. So the fact that Nerf is able to find that trade in the mini is massive. They get into that 10th round, and yep, here we go. Into a round where you're hoping that Bancroft could essentially have a full solo lockdown over towards B. He's going to have a little bit of help from Danny, but just in the use of utility, not really by weapons. So largely, you're looking at Bancroft at B and then the other 3 collectively towards A. And SoaR looked like they actually want to try to contest Hookah, even through the Viper's pit. They send out a pretty good amount of utility. You will not get a reprisal, though, of what we saw last time this happened, where Danny had a Hunter's Fury that found 2 kills for free. He has not earned that at this point, so Spy Cam Dart comes through. That'll push Bancroft down. He's going to have to deal with this dart and then keep the integrity up, but SoaR have rotated away from the Viper's pit in order to play long.
I'm a really big fan of that because they read into the fact that SoaR like to be aggressive and they like to go for Hookah very early, and they've basically forced them into not doing that. But now they're just going to push straight onto the B site anyway.
Danny couldn't find anything from the corner. Miniature, though, with a Guardian. Not bad for 2. Cosmic Divide defensively came down pretty quick, but Xander was ready to watch this back through Hookah. At least for 1, not for a second. That's a weapon that can be collected. I think he wants to. Denya playing down low. Right inside of the container. There's the weapon collect. 1 star to play with. Oh, that's just unfortunate. Not going to be able to block as much as I think he was hoping to. I think he was trying to put it on the ledge of the Hookah, but not the case. Denya finds the kill, no problem for his 3rd.
I assume the same thing as well. That kind of confused me a little bit. Having the Nebula down on the floor isn't really going to conceal your location. So I assume that was just didn't actually go where he wanted it to be. And this is now that 11-8 situation that you were talking about. Yes, they can actually run some weapons. They haven't even bought full armor at this point. I don't know if Danny and Bancroft are going to stick to the light armor. It looks like they definitely are. So no, I was thinking the same thing. So still significantly weakened. I mean, they need to win this round.
Yeah, must win. This is the game right here in my mind.
Yep.
So, see how things unfold. Bossy, solo mission through Hookah. Denied. Huge first kill for S2P. Now, granted, again, they're not going to know that was the only player, but you saw for a moment that the Trailblazer actually cleared B long. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of the crew would hard rotate. You stick this from the shadows if you're nerfed. Yeah, why not? Goes right into his dark cover. So now he's got heaven control. And it's going to be on to Bancroft. Has to use this one-way smoke to success, but doesn't find anything with it. Nerfed will actually give up top heaven. Plays down low. Danny not going to see them off of the Owl drone, but Nerf still not feeling confident. Backs away, teleporting to safety. Cloudburst able to allow them to do so. And as that happens, the spike gets planted 4v4 we go. Defensively looking for a quick retake. But offensively, Cryo looking to deny. It's the Hunter's Fury through the link, but it's a little bit late. And as Nerf finds 1, it's really just down to what John can find as the Vanguard here. Danny will also drop. 2v4 situation. SoaR looking clean on the post plant.
Player standing.
And that will indeed be the case. Denya finds 2. And that is now map point for SoaR, where Something to Prove are going to have to put something miraculous together with not a lot of weapons to work with.
I don't know what they can really look to do here. They don't have any ultimates. They're really behind as far as weapons go. You've got 2 ultimates on the side of SoaR, and you know, yeah, we talk about how you wouldn't necessarily look to use the Blade Storm on a full buy round, but you know, this is potentially the last round and very likely the last round of this game, right? So I mean, they could invest in that. They have the neural theft. They're going to be able to know the locations of those players on S2P. I think that's going to be really valuable if they decide to use that. Things are stacked against S2P in this case, and they decided to use some of their ultimate utility last time. You know, we saw the Seekers come out, for example, didn't get anything, and that opening kill is certainly not going to help.
Danny, though, does find 1 cleanly, mind you. Full HP, full armor still. Paranoia going to try to push them out, looking for the isolation. Xander moves quickly to capitalize. So, neural theft earned and immediately spent. Spike being planted. And defensively, you know there's a player on the flank. You know there's 2 players playing through either Heaven or the Link. John falls. Sofa tagged up
1
to
enemy remaining.
critical health, no problem. Just down to Miniature, who does find a couple, but can't find the third. And SoaR will strike first. I believe that's actually Something to Prove's map choice as well.